their support are the only two people that are sticking around that are experienced and been on this bad English team before.
And I think it's interesting to see how these teams change over time through the courses of the brackets and everything. And as we move to players, we'll be able to highlight some of that a little more. But as teams change over the course of these multiple seasons, and you see these players develop and advance, you see like the way their individual play styles start to shine out. And that's something I love seeing with going into these intermediate and advanced divisions. These players have had more time to develop.
As we take a look at our rosters from our two teams, and we'll indeed see how that they have improved and moved up in the world. Celestial coming out with remastered and Panzerwagen in the tank lineup. We were talking, it's a shame. Panzerwagen is going to be your off tank. We wanted to see Panzerwagen in the Reinhardt role. But moving on. Wyvern and Thick Chungus will be putting the hurt down with Salty and Lightning, keeping the team alive and well over on Bad English. You got Pikachu and Dennis. Pikachu, one of the returning members, one of the people that have been around this Bad English team for a couple tournaments now. They're going to be leading up the front line. We're going to have L and Skelly in the damage role with Bob and Grim. Going to be keeping the team alive for Bad English.
Two really strong rosters coming into play here. I just love seeing, you know, the better level of play at these intermediate divisions and at these advanced divisions. And as we, you know, move into these games and we see how these people play, I'm really interested to see the matchups between the DPS lines here. I think that we're moving into a meta that's very, very DPS heavy. As much as Brawl, the common Brawl metas are often chosen, you know, surrounded by good tank play. The way that your DPS play is always really, really important. And so I'm super excited to see how, you know, maybe something like a May plays or something like that.
Well, and from what we've been given, Celestial is going to prefer the Somber Reaper kind of setup, that old school, I guess it's kind of old school now. From a few minutes ago, Blackout Brawl, as I like to call it, with L and Scalacious on Bad English, seem to be showing us a little bit more May McCree, a little bit more of the modern meta going in. So I'm curious to see how these two match up. I think I'd give the May McCree the edge if you're just talking on paper with those two matchups. But I mean, individual play can outshine and overcome any deficit that you might see between the compositions. So
when playing against a May, it's all about how your tank line is able to not get caught out by the May, and sure, how you're able to close distance against the other DPS. So when you're running May McCree, you have to kite out long distances. You have to, you know, play the longest fights you possibly can, because the longer the fight goes, the more damage that Kree is pumping out, the more opportunities you get to have those walls. Whereas when you're playing something like a Reaper Sombra, you're usually looking for one perfect initiation to really get that all together.
Yeah, you want it quick and snappy. Take those fast kills, find them as fast as you can. We are an intermediate division. We're talking about this is 3,000 to 34.99 SR. So I think we're kind of at that spot where it's the combination of comfort picks and meta. You know, you don't have to be completely meta reliant. You can fall back on what you do well, what you're most coordinated at. So we're going to be right in that middle ground. I do anticipate seeing a lot of Ryan Zarya from both of these teams as we take a look at our map pool for today. It is going to be High Seed choosing our opening map, which will be Busan to start things off. We're headed to Korea.
The thing that I love about King of the Hill in these series, and really King of the Hill overall, is that it's always something that you can tell how the rest of the series is going to be shown a little bit. You're going to be able to see comps that people like playing, the way they like playing, the variation in the individual King of the Hill points are going to allow for a lot of different compositional types. And I think you know, King of the Hill is just the best way to kind of have a small sampling of what we're going to see going forward.
I think it also shows the versatility of our teams. You know, we'll see if a team is just going to pretty much run the same composition through all three maps, because you have different advantages, particularly on Busan, with the differences between, you know, the vast difference between downtown and Mecha Base, and then you've got Sanctuary kind of lying somewhere in between. So I think it'll be a good indicator on whether our teams are going to make a lot of swaps or are going to try to play various compositions, or whether they're just going to hammer in and perfect one style of play.
Additionally, the way they play around their ultimate economies in these very limited time spans is really telling for how they play going forward and their macro understanding of the game overall.
So true. So true. As we are headed to Mecha Base to start things off.
I love Mecha Base as a brawl map. I think this is one of the best maps in the game to see. Just like this and Lijiang Control Center are one of those maps where you just get to see teams crash into each other at full speed, and it's just like a slugfest. It's a back and forth boxing match, and we see both teams looking to roll out on brawl.
Quintessential brawl maps indeed. Get out of my head, Gunther. I was just thinking the same thing. Celestial flashing us the Reinhardt Wrecking Ball out of the gate, while Bad English sticking the more traditional Rein Zarya in the red jerseys. XJ coming out with the Hanzo, so we're not seeing the McCree just yet, that there is still 8 seconds to change their mind. Celestial looking at a Reaver Bastion? You think they'll stick with this?
We'll see what happens. It looks to be double shield here, but this double shield variant of Brawl... Oh, they're doing it. They're playing the East Coast special. This is the teleport your Bastion around the map and ping-pong them to 50 different places.
We'll see if XJ can find an opening with those arrows to lock it down, that Bastion. No, XJ takes a lot of damage early. That was a heck of an icicle from across the map to put, a heck of a shot to put XJ in low health, and does eventually get taken down by Wyvern. So far, Celestial just happy to take up this overlook by the mini. They are going to go ahead and rotate back as the teleporter is in place to bounce between the two separate high grounds, but it's left remastered out in the open, and Bad English are content just to move on to the objective and force the fight on the point.
Bad English are doing a really, really good job of closing distance before this Bastion is able to pump out damage. We saw how they went from pillar to pillar to pillar to pillar, and we're finally able to close that distance with that Mei wall, with that speed boost. Bad English not able to get away Celestial not able to get away in time. Bad English just runs them over, and we see Celestial swapping to more of a traditional brawl comp. We see Chungus swapping over to that Mei. We see Lightning going over to that Moira, Wyvern going over to that Reaper, and they're looking to be a lot more aggressive now that Bad English have control of these doors. Celestial need to break through it.
And Bad English not shook by the unusual cheese, but Remaster is going to put a hurt down. Panzerwagen finding their counterpart as well, as the tank line Celestial just storms up the staircase, catching Bad English off guard. And it is all the tanks lighting up the feed. That front line putting down a world of hurt, Gunther.
Panzerwagen really blitzkrieging across the Man-in-Yo line of that doorway, just running Bad English over. But Bad English have a lot of tools to retake here, moving in with the square and the shatter, maybe trying to break shield before they push.
Remaster with a nice fire strike is gonna get their Earth Shatter up, and it's Dennis dropping the hammer first, but it's the counter hammer that is better. 4 on the floor for Celestial. They're gonna push in the Hellfire shotguns. They're cleaning up after that fatty shatty.
Celestial did a really, really good job there of understanding their Mei wall cooldowns and pushing in really aggressively off of a great wall coming out from Chungus. And now Bad English have a lot of ults to retake here, but this is one of those scenarios where, oh god, we've lost a couple of fights, but they're going under. That's so sneaky.
Oh, it's just speed boosting right on the point. Celestial did not make the rotation in time, and now looking a little broken. Chungus went down by themselves, got picked off. Lightning suffers a similar fate, and it's a quick +2, +3 to Bad English with that beautiful rotation. I'm loving this gameplay from them so far.
Bad English really, they took 0 time to set up. They took 0 seconds waiting. They just said, okay, we're going out of spawn. Everyone go under right now. Celestial had no scouting for that, and they weren't able to respond. And now Bad English have enough ults where they can properly hold on. They have that beat for that incoming grab. They have a lot of defensive tools here.
Oh, and that was key. They used only 1 ultimate in that last engagement, and the Graviton Surge will start off the next with the Dragons over the top. Nothing to defend against it. Salty did not have the barrier up in time, and that was a 4K from the Wombo combo.
That was a great dragon coming out, but we do see Grim going down at the end of that fight. If Celestial regroup quickly, they can come back and use their Graviton before Bad English would be able to amp out of this blizzard or out of this grab.
And Bad English are going to stay on the fight. They're not going to try to retreat, and they do get hit with the grab. And Maywell denies on a follow-up, and, well, they're able to get their blizzard off in time. Everybody frozen solid. At the end of the day, it's Dennis going down first as Remaster thaws out, pushes through with the help of the Coalescence, and is able to pick up a pair of kills. Now Celestial moving on to the point, and not a moment too soon as Bad English have gotten to that 99%.
That was actually a phenomenal defensive blizzard coming out from Skelly, but Bad English just didn't have the people to really take that fight properly. Now Celestial with a few ults in their corner, but this is kind of anyone's game at this point. We're in a very neutral fight scenario, but Bad English's comp is much better at holding than they are at retaking, regardless of what that sneaky fight we saw earlier was.
And that early kill onto the Lucio in the last fight meant that Grim got into there late and still used the sound barrier. Now don't have that tool. Dennis's Shatter's going to get blocked. Remastered is as well. Death Blossom out over the point, but it's still a +1 to Bad English as it is 5v4 over the objective as they're looking to just win the last fight they need to take this point. As XGJ, we're seeing those stats online from the Hanzo, who has just been destroyed so far, but on the back end of the fight, Ponzo Vagan is able to find two.
Comes in at the end of that fight, is able to clean up. That high energy Zarya is always something that's so scary, but Celestial aren't able to choke up on the doors like they have been, so now Bad English is coming back quickly. Wyvern on the flank.
They have an Ant Matrix to work with, Dragons as well, but Pikachu is still a little bit ways off from the Graviton Surge. I'm going to see if they're going to try to play it slow, build up that grab, and get the wombo combo again. Oh, it's the Graviton Surge coming from the other way. Celestial's going to hold him up in the doors. Immortality Field keeping him alive momentarily. And the Dragons are forced to use defensively, but that was a good play nevertheless. No Graviton Surge needed. XJ is going to pick up 2, and now we're in an even 4v4. Make that a 4v3 favor in Bad English, with the grab coming in from them, countered by the Blizzard from the other side. And Dennis is frozen stiff. It's a giant German popsicle with very little health left, desperately trying to hold on in this 99-99 bout. Panzerwagon's going to show back up on the Wrecking Ball, and Celestial's going to throw down their Coalescence to try to close out our opening round.
It's just cleanup coming out here from Celestial at this point. There were a couple of really good engagements there from Bad English, but at the end of the day, Celestial just had that faster comp that was able to come back fast, like more aggressively. Remastered doing a really good job holding down those doorways on that Rhine, and because of that, in the few, so Celestial didn't have the greatest scouting there. They weren't able to always choke up on the doors that they wanted to, but when they could choke up on those doors, they were able to make like so much of that. And the fights where they were able to catch Bad English off guard was just phenomenal for their ult economy, and they were able to keep that rolling for a good bit.
Gotta love the decisiveness from Bad English on the other side, though. They move fast. They don't waste a lot of time. They knew exactly how they wanted to execute, and I mean, so far, when that was a 99-99 fight, this could not be any closer here in our opening round.
No, it could not. Seeing Bad English play so aggressively on some of these more poke-oriented brawl comps is pretty interesting to me. We see them rolling out on a Hanzo McCree Baptiste here. This is a comp where you want to kite, you want to poke, but Celestial going on that blackout brawl are really trying to be the aggressors here. And if Bad English get, caught in this room trying to brawl them, then it might go poorly, but they have control of that top bongo. They have LS over point, and they're going to have to do they're going to have a lot of damage to poke out.
They're going to catch Thick Chungus out early. Doesn't find the kill, but forces them to translocate out, and it's going to be a temporary 6v5 and allow Bad English to focus all their attention forward. And XDJ already making good advantage of that, taking the Reaper out of the fight. Frontline pushes through and hammers down the tanks of Celestial, and Bad English will find first control.
That is exactly how you play against a Sombra comp. Step 1, you poke out the Sombra. Step 2, you take the 5v6. Bad English took that 5v6 when the Sombra was, back getting health packs. They couldn't poke. They couldn't provide pressure from an off angle. They were able to just steamroll over Celestial. We saw how Remastered got burned on that Rhine because Bad English just has a comp that pumps out so much damage. And now that Pikachu has high energy on that Zarya, this is going to be even harder to retake for Celestial.
And look at the Reinhardt difference as far as your ultimates right now. Dennis already with the Shatter ready to go. And the opening pick on the Think Chungus is going to make things even easier. Shatter comes through, but it looks like that one got blocked. The counter Shatter again for the second time. This map is huge. As 4 down for Bad English. Wyvern in there to clean up. What a play from Remastered, winning the mind games on the Reinhardt.
That was some really great play from Remastered. But at the end of the day, that felt like a team failure on the side of Bad English. Bad English's comp is poke, they're kite. They want to walk back. They shouldn't have held control of that area, but they chose to stand there grounding up punished because of it. Celestial have a comp that's better at running them over.
Now Celestial, well, there's about 70% to the EMP is the big one I'm looking for. Bomb coming up as Dennis gets kind of countercharged in the back, and while on his back is going to get burned down from the Hellfire shotguns, and that's already a lost fight. Bad English trying once again to take this up close and personal fight and just getting punished for it immediately.
Celestial were able to push into Bad English's spawn as Grim was coming back after that fight, and, you know, keep that stagger up. That was really good play coming out from Celestial. Good scouting coming out from Chungus, and they have the EMP this fight, so if they want to go for something aggressive or something sneaky like they just did, they have the opportunity to do so.
And Grimkin with no sound barrier on the other side. This is going to take some big heads-up play for Bad English to survive this EMP. Celestial just playing things a little slow. They're sitting back. It's going to be the self-destruct thrown in. There's the EMP. There's the 4-man bomb. They waited. They calculated, and then downloaded the perfect plan of attack. That wombo combo was huge.
God. That was chef's kiss. Perfect. That is the amazing execution you look for. And now we're getting close to last fight territory here. We're at 70%. One long fight. That's the end of this.
Do have the grab dragons for Bad English to try to come in and retake, but Shatter once again lands for Celestial. Remaster does fall on the approach, was running into double damage from that Amp Matrix and could not find the follow-up. Now Bad English with a bit of an opening, but they've got one last chance to do it. 85% on the board to the other side. Scalacious is going to find a pair, and it's just going to open this thing up, and Bad English will retain control of the point. Regain control of the point, rather.
That was some really good retake coming out from Bad English. And now, as I've said before, they have a comp that's much better at holding. Let's see if they're actually able to poke and kite properly. They have 5 out of their 6 check marks, and if they don't waste too much here, they can win this next fight easily. Celestial gets 0 ult charge, and then Bad English still have 2 or 3 ults to use in that last fight.
And they can use this sound barrier to kind of push the pressure on. As once again, the Shatter is blocked, and this has not been able to find value from that Earth Shatter yet today, and they will indeed try to use the sound barrier to try to turn the fight. It looks like it's going to work. A late Graviton Surge investment after half the team was already dead might have saved that for the final fight.
Yeah, potentially suboptimal there, but Bad English still have a couple of good ults to work with, but Celestial, I would say if they had more time, they could poke and build up something like this EMP, but Chungus is going to have to go for that mid fight. And if Bad English play around the Sombra like they have been, then Chungus might not even be able to get that off if XCJ keeps looking out for this flanks in the way that she has been.
Now it's going to be the sound barrier from Celestial to start the fight as the Dragons go wide. Deadeye coming in from the back is not going to really find anything, and the Matrix has been invested. It's an absolute bloodbath on the point as the two teams are going swinging, and it's Pikachu who is able to find the kill. The EMP does get built up. 5 hacked up, but there's nobody there to follow it up. Too many people with Celestial already down, and Bad English are sending us on over to downtown.
This matchup has no downtime. Fight ends, people set up, they go again. They lose a fight, they set up, they go again. This is just blow after blow after blow. This is why I love Brawl meta. This is phenomenal stuff to be watching right now.
This is a title belt for sure. We're in round 1, and we've already got 2 beaten and bloody fighters, but full of heart, still going at it. As we head to our 3rd round for our opening map here in this 1st of 3 series. And Celestial threatening to make some changes.
Celestial looking like they're going to be playing the double bubble comp, which is incredibly strong. But on this map, maybe Bad English might be able to close the distance before Celestial are able to properly, poke out and do the damage that this double bubble comp likes to do. Double bubble is incredibly good against dive comps, but against brawl comps, it struggles sometimes. We see Bad English rotating over to point. They don't want to take all the poke damage, so they're just going to maybe try to hold up on point and then amp out when they can find a target.
Remaster just doing a little bit of push and pull, trying to find some charge, but they're giving up so much space. Yeah, coming out with the Air Force, you got Pharah and Echo on the battlefield for Celestial. Bad English, well, they've just bunkered up inside the little corner and are waiting the approach. Celestial runs in, drops both bubbles, and are able to find one. Oh, and a big bio into the pack. Lots of cleave coming through, and Remastered already has almost got that Primal Rage online. He's not even going to need it this fight. Bad English and back themselves into a wall and get punished for it. What a play from Celestial.
This map often reminds me of Nepal Village, where you see that point that's surrounded by 50 different angles, and it was the comp affectionately called the Hot Box, where you would just surround point with like a Pharah and a Hanzo and a Zen, and when teams go to comp or go to point, like we just saw Bad English do, they just got ripped in half because their shields would die and they'd slowly go down. But Remastered going really aggressively into Bad English might get punished for that.
Yeah. Remastered was just kind of ran in, threw a couple of fists out, and then just jumped right back on out. Now they're trying to punish. Good shot. Panzerwagon goes down early. Could be just the opening that Ben English needs to get in on this thing. Now looking for one of the flyers. Has got the Echo in their sights. They're going to drop back behind the corner, but the Pharah not so lucky. The headshot takes the Pharah down. 2 kills for XJ in this fight. And Bad English move on and steal the point right back. Ooh, nice shot again.
Actually, she's doing a really good job of really, focusing down those targets they need to be focusing down. Celestial need to be 83 scoped crit. That's, it's only a fight, but still, that's very good. We still need to be seeing the way that Celestial are able to put pressure onto Exige, and a big rush coming out from Chungus, but nothing really comes out of that, unfortunately for them.
Now the Immortality Field is keeping everybody alive through that. Now they're running into Matrix and the Fire Strike, and the Dragons go through it. That's a lot of damage, and Celestial just collapses in a heap.
Bad English with a really now I'm starting to speak English poorly. Starting to really start to hold control of this point, like a python constricting their prey. They have control of this. They're slowly winning fight by fight, and Celestial have tools to retake. But like this Graviton Surge, Grim has that beat to counter. Bob has that lamp. Celestial have tools to retake, but in a comp that's good against dive, it's hard to play against a brawl comp.
Chungus making the swap over to the Sombra, heading back in. No more Pharah. Decided they did not want to find themselves in XJ's sights once again. There's the Graviton Surge coming in from Celestial, but the barrier is there, right on cue. Grim can keeping the team alive. Oh no! But the Primal Rage comes out, and Dennis finds himself on the train tracks. That is not where you want to be, Dennis. Now the rest of Bad English are forced to back up. And Remastered has room to go in and work. Find individual targets, take down the sniper, turn around and focus down Bob on the Baptiste. And Celestial are going to flip this point after a little bit of cleanup.
That was the phenomenal sleep into double boop. It's so hard to boop off Reinhardt's off the map nowadays with that steadfast passive, but seeing something like that is always makes my heart warm. Bad English on this double sniper brawl comp are going to have a really difficult time retaking, considering just how Celestial will be able to play on these high grounds. But we saw XCJ do it before, so we'll see if they can do it again.
Trying to land the jump shot, didn't quite find the mark. Remastered going in is going to get the bubbles, going to get the nano, going to drop a bubble of their own. It was looking vulnerable, but the team just pouring so many resources in. Remastered is no worse for wear, not a scratch. And it's kept Bad English at bay long enough for them to rack up some more time. And look at Remastered is almost already got another Primal online. Dennis heads to the point with the Shatter, but gets slapped. Now just trying to find some room to work, trying to keep the team alive long enough for that to happen right there. XJ is going to pick off Dick Chungus, who had the EMP ready to go. Remastered dropping it yet another Primal Rage as Wyvern throws the duplicate into the back. It's going to be dueling Dragons, both coming out, both finding kills. But Bad English are the ones suffering the more casualties, suffering the most. Celestial look to finish off this fight. They've got the advantage on the point. They've got 99. They just got to keep the stalls at bay.
That was a losable fight for Celestial, but a very well-placed, threaded the needle anti-nade coming out from Lightning, able to close that fight out for Celestial. Phenomenal stuff we're seeing from them so far, but phenomenal stuff we're seeing from both sides. I think both on the sides of individual play, we're seeing a lot of great plays, and on the sides of macro play, we're seeing a lot of great plays. We saw the way that Bad English was able to kite out that nano boosted Winston when Remastered went in that last fight. We saw the way that Celestial has been, they set up these combos that we saw them do. We saw that sleep into Primal Rage. This is I just have a smile on my face watching this match. I love brawl, and I love when two teams are able to competently execute on those things. And both teams seem to have a very strong understanding of this brawl versus brawl matchup. So watching the way that we've seen not only the DPS lines, but also the support lines and the tank lines play around rotations and play around the comps are trying to play has been phenomenal so far.
Yeah, Celestial, I mean, they were disciplined, they were patient, and they were versatile. One of those things that we were talking about before going into this map, they were able to adapt to the different maps where Bad English were very aggressive, very decisive, and very much sticking to that brawl comp that you're talking about. And I mean, Wyvern's choice on the back end. I mean, this you nailed it early on. Going through like these DPS both have a lot of pop off potential. We saw Skelly doing a lot of damage with the Hanzo on the first map, and then Wyvern with the choice to duplicate that Hanzo in the final fight of that map was such a smart choice. Able to get those dragons up, able to lay them across the incoming bad English, where normally you'd see the Echo pull off the tank. It's the safe pick. You get a lot of health. You know, you're more likely to get that ultimate up. But it was a bold move. It was a big gamble, and it paid off for Wyvern.
It's been phenomenal to see. Also, on Mecha Base, the May walls we saw, normally May, but that was a lot of really good May play, because on these control these King of the Hill matchups, you see these high intensity May plays where they have to go for a wall and then they have to keep that tempo going. They have to isolate a target and they have to push the target. And on both sides, I think we saw a lot of really strong May play coming out. We saw good defensive uses of blizzards. This is a diamond range skill tier, but we are not seeing diamond level macro play. A lot of these players, very smart understandings of the game, and I'm personally very impressed.
And if that map is in the indicator for the rest of the series, like buckle in, folks. We're in for the full effect here. We're going 5 rounds if that first one, tells us anything, because that was close every step of the way, all 3 rounds. We are a loser pick here in GitGud Limited, and Bad English, well, they have an interesting pick for us headed to map number 2 going through. We're headed to Rialto.
Rialto is interesting, considering what Bad English have been playing. They've been playing those more poke-oriented brawl comps with, that Hanzo and that Kree, and sometimes both, or sometimes running that May. Or we could see them pull out that double sniper once again, like we saw. But if they play something like that double sniper, maybe it'd be good for them to swap up the tank line a little bit. Maybe it'd be good for them to rotate what they're doing with their supports a little bit, maybe, because Brawl and Double Sniper feel like 2 very different comps, and then trying to, put them together in a blender and just blend them together. It doesn't always seem to be, the most conducive pick, but we saw them making it work. So if they want to make it work again, I believe in them.
It's so important to play your optimal range for your comp. And I think when you try to mix like brawl tanks with snipers, they want to play at very different ranges and at very different paces, I think most importantly. So, yeah, it can be a little interesting if you try to start blending things a bit. And obviously, with Rialto, you've got a lot of long sight lines here, a lot of range to work with. Bad English, we saw some wonderful sniping out of their DPS lineup, as we're going to get L coming in for Skelly here in the DPS role. On the other side, Celestia's coming out on the defense, bringing us that Blackout Brawl once again.
I think it's going to be good for them. They've been doing a pretty good job on it so far. They're pushing the D.Va in, so Bad English can't hear the footsteps. Definitely looking to go for a close fight here, which is, you don't always see these close fights on Rialto. I feel like the last time I remember seeing a close fight here was Quad Tank during Overwatch World Cup, years ago, with Finland World Cup, but it's still very strong here if you're trying to play these slower comps like Bad English is trying to play.
Oh, what an interesting position. Just hiding, just gonna wait for the unsuspecting Bad English to approach and cross this bridge. And you've got Chungus up there watching, invisible on the balcony. And there you go. Now they know they're competent. By the time they realize, it's too late. Here comes Celestial with the Blitzkrieg attack, with the ambush, and, well, a couple Reinhardts going for a swim. Hope you brought your floaties.
Wow, Remaster sinking straight to the bottom of the canals with the huge brass ones that guy has. That was I love to see it. But now Celestial need to give up. Give up some space, because they need to have their main tank come back in this time. Bad English are going to be able to regroup and try and go for a real fight. Maybe have some of those more poke-oriented DPS take different angles.
Here comes another clever rotation and decisive attack. Bad English was trying to get aggressive, and then they thought second of it. They just stepped out too far. He's going to get hacked, deleted, focused down by Celestial. They now have no tank to work with, no protection for those long-range DPS, and they're going to get picked off. Celestial once again put a stop to this cart, and well, they managed to keep Remastered in the fight this time.
This diva for Panzerwagen is so incredibly strong on the side of Celestial, able to cut off this Widowmaker, able to cut off this Baptiste, you cut off the Bap heal, so the rest of Celestial are able to surround Dennis and, you know, eat them alive like piranhas. And it's going to be so difficult for Bad English to, you know, keep trying to force the square peg into this round hole. Celestial keep going for this brawl.
Bad English just going right at the gut this time. They're going to throw it down to Deadeye to try to create a little bit of space, but that DM is right there once again. Panzerwagen right where they need to be. It's going to be an up close and personal. Wyvern in the back, putting a lot of pressure down on the Pikachu as his teammates die all around him. And Bad English once again just fall flat, beating their heads against the wall of the first corner of Rialto.
We see XCJ going over to that Hanzo, so maybe trying to brawl a little bit more, but Wyvern trying to set up in the spawn of Bad English, being poked out, and now Celestial forced to respond.
And Bad English they're not even close to that sound barrier. Fortunately for them, the EMP only hit 2. Remastered has the Shadow ready to go, but Bob throws down the Amp Matrix, and L is able to take full advantage. 2 quick kills for the McCree, as XJ picks up 1 as well. The DPS duo finally finding their time and able to make some space.
Celestial, or Wyvern getting caught out, Celestial not able to respond quickly enough. If they were there maybe a second earlier, then they would have been able to take that fight, capitalize off of that EMP. But now, Bad English are able to set up properly. They have their DPS in good angles. Celestial need to either take a strong, decisive fight here, or they need to kite for as long as humanly possible, try and steal those ults out of Bad English.
Needs self-destruct over the top. Graviton Surge thrown in from the attacking side, but the sound barriers there, keeping them alive. Remastered already out of the fight early. Now there, the Coalescence comes in from Celestial to try to hold. Death Blossom gets interrupted by a nice headshot from XJ, and not even the Coalescence is not going to be enough to win this fight. Celestial looking a little broken, not quite decisive enough on that late retake, and Bad English will eventually pick up point A. I say that. Remaster returns to the fight, has a shatter, and we've seen some fatty shatties already from today, but not this time.
Celestial had enough ults where if they wanted to, they could have matched 1 for 1 and just tried to trade ults there. And they clearly attempted to do that, but they weren't able to use them properly to actually like bully Bad English out of point. And they played an LOS of those long-range DPS that Bad English are trying to play. But Celestial, not to be swayed by, you know, mere things like dying, are back at it again, remastered, going in with that hammer.
Death is only an illusion. As the EMP comes out, 5 men hacked up, 5 players hacked up, that is, and 3 quick kills. Celestial will take full advantage of the EMP this time. Much better placement from Chungus on that one, and it'll win him that fight handily.
With the amount of damage, or with the ults that were used and who did the damage of that fight, the good saving grace for Bad English is that Celestial didn't really charge any ults off of that. So Remaster is trying to go incredibly aggressive here. Maybe they're going for this Coalescence, but Bad English has so many ults that they can respond with, just like this Deadeye.
Yeah, and they're able to pick up 1 with that, and Matrix thrown down as well, but they're having to use them just to get through this front archway. I believe it's going to give time for Celestial to get back and fortify the corner of death.
They're going to be able to come back and take another fight here, but Bad English have that Grab Dragon here, so Celestial either Panzerwagen needs to come up with some good eats, or they need to stay incredibly spread, or Bad English just are able to take the second point for free. What was looking, you know, so promising, now Bad English or Celestial are in a difficult scenario. Not unwinnable, but difficult.
Good discipline. They do manage to get back to the corner, but there's nothing for the Grab Dragons. No good eats here. This Panzerwagen goes hungry, goes dead, goes back to spawn. Nice shot. Taking Salty off the high ground. XJ is on fire. She's killing it right now.
Really good DPS play coming out from the side of Bad English, especially considering how they were stuck in spawn for so long. But a contest coming out at the last second for Celestial.
Yeah, they're able to push in and get that EMP, or excuse me, get the manual down, and the bomb is going to take XJ out of the fight. It's a good start, but Remastered falls. And it's a 5v5, but Bad English still have their tanks in this fight. And they're able to just push Celestial back and finally get this cart moving as they had snuck it in halfway through that fight.
Celestial have some good ults coming in for this next fight here. They're going to have this EMP, they're going to have this Death Blossom, and they need to be able to just win, you know, 1 fight on this point so they can go back to doing the close camps like they were doing, like we saw in first point.
Ooh, the flashbang narrowly misses. Chungus manages to get the EMP off, but does not get Grim. The sound barrier is up, and it's 1-for-1 trade. But it's Dennis falling this time. Deadeye finds 2! as L follows it up with some beautiful shots from the Peacekeeper. 3 under their big belt buckle, and Bad English now around the last corner with over 90 seconds left to push it home.
Celestial need to be doing more of these surgical, like isolating certain targets like they have been. We see Chungus swapping over to that Mei. Bad English gives space, maybe trying to poke a little more now, but Celestial need to take something decisive here. They can't win this poke engagement.
No, especially now with XJ is fired up as they are. Nice rotation from Celestial. They're going to run to the back line, use the wall zipper, but there's nobody on Cart. Cart just is going to stroll in. Panzerwagon manages to get back, but in the interim, it scatters the team. Panzerwagon's going to get demacked, and that's all she wrote for the attack phase for Bad English. They get 3 points on the board. They got a $104 left on the time bank.
What was looking so good for Celestial with that incredibly close hold on the Bad English able to come around and take over a minute time bank left, which isn't always, you don't always see people completing Rialto. So being able to complete it with an over minute time bank, that's so good for them. Celestial just stumbling a little bit there, maybe thinking, oh, it's okay, we held them for so long on first, they're not going to have a time bank for second. Oh, we held them for so long on first, they're not going to have a time bank for third. And those moments where you get maybe a little lackadaisical, you get a little happy with the job you've done so far, you got to finish that, right? That was good play coming out from Bad English to be able to aggressively take control of some of those high grounds, win a lot of those messier mid fights, and Celestial just stumbling a little bit.
I mean, Bad English had 2 minutes to push it. I mean, they were at the bottom of the hill of Point C with 2 minutes, and they finished with a $104, winning 2 very quick fights. And the cart never stopped on that 3rd point. Now they're coming out on a heavily defensively favored map with a great advantage, and they're sticking with this composition.
Celestial almost going to that 6-man dive we see, running an Ana this time instead of the Moira we commonly associate with that comp. Bad English playing that same poke-oriented brawl comp, that Kree, that Hanzo, that Bap. This comp is very good at, taking longer angles, like we saw in that 3rd point. But Celestial, if they're able to properly close the distance, and especially on this Winston and this Tracer now, Bad English might get picked apart.
Well, I mean, Double Bottle taught us that Ana and Winston go together so well. My concern here is that XJ it might be able to find that headshot. There's not going to be a whole lot protecting the Ana. They've got to take some very smart positioning, some very good angles to keep LOS on their Winston while not getting shot in the head, like what just happened to Thick Chungus there. Nice shot from XJ. She's able to take the Sombra out of the fight early, and now Bad English is able to get aggressive, press the issue, and press Celestial right back up to their doors. We're going to see some swaps coming in from the attackers.
Really good understanding of that matchup coming out from Bad English. They get up 1, they take out the Sombra, they take that 5v6. We saw them do it on Bustan, we're seeing them do it here. Celestial swapping up their comp a little bit, going over to a Wrecking Ball with a Pharmacy and an Echo. So really just the most counter brawl comp you can possibly think of, and Crimkin Boops remastered off the map. Oh, that's so tragic.
Oh no. Monkeys can't swim, at least not in this matchup. What is this? Is like the boop and bang comp? Like this is a very interesting composition from Celestial. Wyvern is able to land the sticky bomb's head as they are once again just taken to the airs, trying to do a similar strategy what we saw in downtown, trying to surround that high ground, put in a lot of damage from different angles. And they've bought enough time where Remastered back into this fight, and they're fighting at a full 6. Now they have the +1 player advantage. But Bad English not dissuaded. They're going to continue to hold this corner. XJ speeding back with the legs as Remastered comes in over the top. Nice Biodate into the pack. It's going to force out the Immortality Field early. Keep the team up. Keep the team alive and standing. But they're going to find first kill. Bad English is able to get the kill on the Wyvern. They weathered the storm and they punch back.
You look at Celestial's comp, and it's so, and I'm surprised they did it, so credit to them, but Bad English don't have as good poke of Celestial at this point. Celestial need to look for that Ana, look for Lightning, and just run them over, because otherwise they're going to get picked apart by Celestial's comp. Bad English, maybe they need something like a Diva or something like a Tracer in order to isolate these targets, but they're holding on just fine here, which is as surprising as it is impressive.
Both tank ults ready to go, both support ults ready to go, but L already out of the fight. Remastered is going to find Bob in the back, a huge priority pick. Maximum shock value from the nano boosted Winston as they find the most important target they can. Now dropping the barrage in, scattering Bad English and forcing Dennis just to try to get the heck out of Dodge as quickly as possible, and still does not manage to get out with their lives.
Celestial really decisively taking that fight, only using a couple of ults there. Bad English using that beat drop, which is incredibly impactful in this matchup. There's not a lot of targets to grab, not a lot of targets to shatter. So something like beat where you can keep people up in that mid fight. Oh, and now Bad English are gonna have to take this fight either 5v6 or just in a bad scenario.
Oh, that was very nearly Pikachu taking a swim. But it's still a +2 here. Well, XG looking to bring it back. Like, they're continuing to fight this out. I'm surprised. L's even investing the Deadeye into this. Trying to make something happen as the contest continues to come through. Dennis is able to finish off Panzerwagon after taking some shots. And Bad English stabilize. Throwing in the tack visor even on the back of the fight.
Man, if either of these teams were running D.Va right now, they would just win. They would just win the game. It would be over. That'd be it. It'd be done. But you know, off takes, they're choosing to go in a different direction, which I can respect to the cohesiveness of the comp. But coming into this last fight, Bad English, now that they have, you know, a bit of a crossfire setup for this last fight, it's going to be really hard for these aerial DPS of Celestial to properly approach.
Duplicate online, and Dennis on a prime duplicate target that Reinhardt just makes for some easy duping. You can see him looking for. He's going to choose the Reinhardt D. Drop down, throw down a couple hammers. We get stunned up. Already sub 100 health. Is just forced to put shield up. Not able to get that shatter. The clock is ticking to get that bonus shatter online. Trying to get value out of this ultimate. Lightning is already down. They really needed that to land. And Celestial could not find the mark. Wyvern taken out. Back to spawn you go. But it's the barrage from over the top. The hero play Celestial needed to keep the cart rolling through Rialto, and they finally get that point on the board.
Chungus picking up 4 in that last fight. Really good discipline, trying to poke, get up that barrage, wait for cooldowns to come out. And if Celestial are able to keep this rolling, able to, you know, poke up aggressively, doing 11k damage per 10, really high in this matchup. A lot of, you know, if they're able to poke up aggressively and push up like they have been, then it's going to be a really difficult recontest for Bad English.
They're going to try to grab that important high ground, but Chungus is just spamming down rockets, keeping that damage number oh so high. Wyvern, you know, just poking from the side. He's going to land those stickies and get the final blow as Bad English are forced to go inside to avoid all the rocket damage. And they just push all the way out, all the way onto the point, getting aggressive, as we've seen from this team all day long. At trademark aggression, serving them well in that fight as Grimkin, this time putting Panzerwagon into the water.
Chungus in Bad English's spawn room. You gotta respect the Metal Gear Solid play that they're going for here. And Bad English, now they have their attention split, so they either take the 5v6 in the front line or they need to go back and deal with the Pharah. But if they try and do both at once or they forget the other, then Celestial's gonna be able to rip them in half.
Master going up there knows they have the primal. They're gonna go and pop that now. Big bio over the top, and the Graviton Surge comes in combined with the Deadeye. They're able to find Lightning in the back, but they're going to lose Dennis along the way. Celestial have 3 tanks on the board right now and getting hyper aggressive on the front line, making good use of it. Should be a free shatter here. As well, that didn't really find their mark. Bad English were able to just kite back, avoid it, and strike back a little bit. But Grimkin found themselves in the mines on the back of the cart. And Bob is going to get taken out as well, so there's no more supports left standing for Bad English. A little bit of a misplay, I think, on Grimkin's part.
Celestial just taking these much longer fights where I feel like Bad English should maybe be, you know, coming out on top here, but Celestial are just, you know, this is so back and forth. Both of these teams, I feel like both these teams should just be getting ripped apart right now by each other, but...
Yeah, I feel like both the teams, like, nobody's blocking. Everybody's just throwing haymakers, you know? Like, you're just throwing solid punches right into their face and see who's going to fall first. But nobody's really doing a whole lot of ducking and dodging, and it's Bad English who emerged from that round victorious. And now Celestial are in a desperate position. Clock ticking down, and Remastered forced to sacrifice their life just to start the overtime. And Celestial are filing onto this point 1v1. Bad English have made their stand on one of the toughest corners in the game, and they will tie up the series 1-1 with a 3-1 victory on Rialto.
What was what we saw in Busan, which I believe was characterized by incredible discipline, this Rialto round, I think, could be characterized by some lack thereof. This was all mid-fight plays. This was all, you know, individual hero moments. And credit to those individual plays, but I think we saw some of that macro we saw build up on Busan start to break down just a little bit as that map started to go on.
It did, and it was. I mean, we saw. Was it Wyvern? No, Wyvern was on the Echo. We saw Chungus on that Pharah doing a lot of work, but it's like once those angles closed down, it all swapped the other way. I mean, that was a dirty map. Like that was just an absolute chaotic slugfest of a map, and it's left us at a 1-1 tie when the dust has settled. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, it's Celestial's map pick as we head into hybrid. Y'all stick around. We're about to return with more Get Good. We are all tied up here in the winners bracket round 2 intermediate matchup between Celestial and Bad English. Bad English with a wonderful push and then a big hold on point B in Rialto to send us to map 3. Celestial will get their pick of the litter heading into our hybrid map. And, they show us Hollywood as their favorite map. I don't know if we'll end up going there, though.
I believe we're going to end up going to Eichenwald, surprisingly enough. Which is interesting because Eichenwald feels more of a brawl map to me than Hollywood is in some scenarios, right? On Hollywood, I feel like you can play around those high grounds, but on Eichenwald, second point, you can run that dive, like we've seen some of that poke, but I feel brawl is just so strong there, and they've been shying away from the brawl matchup in some scenarios against Bad English, so maybe they're going to throw us for a loop, maybe they're going to keep playing that brawl matchup, but just very interesting map choice coming out.
And Bad English have already shown us some very clever rotation, some really good pathing in both of the opening maps. And I can't help but feel like Celestial are counting on point B for that to be their win condition, particularly on the defense when it comes to Eichenwald. And it allows for a bunch of clever pathing coming through. It also, it really makes me want to take a look at these off tanks because we saw a very different matchup between Panzerwagen and Pikachu back on Rialto. Panzerwagen sticking with the Wrecking Ball through the majority of that map. Pikachu on the Zarya. And the stats were pretty good. They were both putting in some work, as we can see the head-to-head on your screen right now. You're saying you might have preferred Panzerwagen to bring out the Devo. Give me some insight into that.
It really felt like, especially on both sides, but specifically for Panzerwagen, there were so many things that Bad English, in terms of Baptiste heals, in terms of Hanzo damage, in terms of McCree damage, in terms of even ults like Grav, there were so many things that a Diva would have been able to nullify that damage on. And so you could have kept your Winston alive for a lot longer. You could have, it just really felt like not running that defense matrix, with a similar level of mobility as that Wrecking Ball, you were kind of double dipping into a hard commit dive tank when your DPS were much more of poke-oriented DPS.
I mean, the defense matrix, I mean, not only could you have kept the front line alive, but you could have denied healing from the other side. We saw Baba on the BAP through the majority of that, and you can just eat up those heal nades. There seems to be just so much. You can eat up Zarya grabs, so much value available for a Diva to grab. Although, I mean, Panzerwagen's ball looked really good. I mean, their timing was good, especially coordinating with the Pharah from Chungus. So I mean, I'm curious to see if they choose to stick with that heading into this next map. Sounds like we are getting a bit of a substitution as Scalicia's actually coming in for XJ. So we're now seeing the third DPS duo rotating in and out there for the damage line of Bad English.
And I think just rotating back to off-tank, it hasn't been an issue of individual play. It's been an issue of choice and composition. I think individually, Panzerwagen was doing phenomenal. But the issue isn't that they were doing poorly on Wrecking Ball. The issue was maybe Wrecking Ball wasn't the right choice. Remember that when you're all in my comp games.
Valid point, my friend. Very valid point. All of the individual skill in the world is not going to make up for just optimal composition.
Exactly. And especially on maps like this or like on Rialto, where there's so many high grounds that you can bounce up and down between, right? There's so many places where you can take high ground, damage from an off angle, drop to another place, damage from that angle. Oh, and now we see Bad English looking like the ones who are going to be playing the poke in this scenario.
Actually, it's
my
Bad
goodness.
English starting us off on the defense right now. Yeah, don't let the names up top fool you. We'll get that for you moment.
I got so confused for a second. I was like,
like this team's just swapped identity.
Yeah, that just, oh my goodness, that just messed with my brain. I didn't even conceptualize that. Oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed. Oh my god.
Yeah, Bad English in the blue jersey is going to defend first with that brawl comp we've seen from them all day long. L and Skelly in with the McCree and Hanzo respectively.
This poke that we're seeing on the offense again, I'm very interested to see how their DPS play, because last time we saw them play it, they played kind of low to the ground. They were in a lot of danger from those poke or from those hit scan heroes on the side of Bad English, but it feels like they just need to play higher. They need to play around those, like this tower, and it felt like they were just taking a lot of unnecessary damage.
We are seeing Panzerwagon back on the wrecking ball heading into this, trying to coordinate with the Air Force. See if they can get the pile driver in, perhaps make for some easy pickings for Wyvern and Thick Chungus, but Remastered goes down early. That's not what you want if you're Celestial. Losing the Winston is just going to prompt a quick reset from the attacking team.
And especially on the comp that Celestial's playing, there's really only one target you can push on, just like on Rialto, right? You can really only push on Lightning, but you can still force a mistake out of that Wrecking Ball, out of that Winston, and Bad English need to be able to capitalize on those things, especially with how aggressively it feels like Remastered is playing without a proper off-tank to back them up.
Ooh, nice rotation. Panzerwagon's going to turn around and catch him on the tower. Scalicious goes down. Chungus continuing to just rain damage from above. That was a beautiful play, beautiful pincer move from Celestial. They push in, force Bad English into the tower, and then Panzerwagon just swoops around and catches them on the exit. Now the barrage throwing in just to close up this fight. Going to pick up a pair with that and devalue the Ant Matrix on the other side.
Bad English doing a really good job there of, going back and playing safe, but they might be coming back at this point.
No way!
Picking up 3, Pikachu picks up 1, and in this mid-fight at the last moment, L picks up 4! Oh my lord!
How?
I was moving into post-fight commentary and everything. You really had to do that to me? Come on, man. Oh my goodness gracious. That was some phenomenal creep play coming up.
That was a 3v6. L, Skelly, and Pikachu just bring that back. My goodness. And now have ults to use. Coming up on the big Wombo combo. And there's really nothing. But with the Mercy on it, there's nothing to defend against the Grav Dragons that are going to be incoming. Celestial trying to get aggressive. Find the kills first. They are going to take Scalicious out of the fight. That's a priority pick. Mines are in the back. Going to pick up here as well. Wyvern duplicating the Reinhardt. Lots of ultimates thrown in from Celestial. But looks like they should win the fight this time. Question mark? Question mark,
baby. After that incredibly messy last fight, Bad English weren't able to get into a situation where they could poke Celestial on their walk-up, so Celestial were able to come in for free there. They committed a fair few ults to take that, but that's incredibly worth it considering how much they're going to be gaining from this. Bad English have a lot that they're going to be able to come back and take this next fight with, but Celestial's comp is incredibly good at kiting those things. Look at how mobile they all are. So Bad English commit poorly with the Shatter, with this beat, then Celestial are just going to walk away.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to look for big individual targets, I think, with those two tank ultimates. You know, you're not trying to find a 6-man grab against this comp. Not a chance. No, you're looking for L to just pop off again. Pick up 3 with the McCree yet again. L has, well, we see why you've come back into this game, L. Well done. Tip of the hat to you. Tip of the cowboy hat to you.
What an absolute Chad move to jump off the high ground with that Deadeye. That is some Giga Chad stuff. You love to see that. And they committed only that Deadeye. Bad English still have 5 ults to come and win this fight with, and Celestial's still able to kite them out very effectively just because of the heroes that they're on. But Bad English have so many tools in their toolbox that they could waste 2 or 3 and probably be okay.
Chungus is going to get flashbanged out of the barrage, but not before picking up that kill onto the McCree. Grab onto the points, gonna find a pair. Looking to burn down Lightning and will indeed find that kill. Panzerwagon able to escape and is gonna respond with some mines over the front of the point. But Bad English, well, I was gonna say should be able to back out of there, but Wyvern was able to find a kill on the other end. Come through from the other side, find the focusing beam. Pikachu trying to bring it back, but Remastered has that Primal Rage, is able to top themselves back off. And they're going to just force Pikachu right on out there and eventually force him in a corner and find that kill. Celestial are going to keep this cart rolling on the point that we assume would favor their composition.
Chungus still pumping out damage like we've seen them do so far. 12k per 10 at this point. Bad English losing control of this high ground as they lost control of high ground in that last fight. Celestial were just able to, constrict that point and slowly choke the life out of Bad English. They haven't been able to get a real fight here, and maybe a poor beat coming out from Grim.
Beat? Really? Okay, I mean, hey, we've seen Bad English pull it up from the gutter once already this map, but it's not going to happen this time. 2 quick kills on the front. Pikachu and Grim in the back, kind of on their lonesome. Lucio goes down. Shatter and Ant Matrix out from the defense. Barrage coming in from the other side forces them to not be able to use that Ant Matrix at all. The Graviton Surge comes out with some late dragons from Spawn, and Bad English on the back of those 2 ultimates managed to find enough picks to stabilize.
Chungus picking up a third, and even so, their spawn is so close, but even so, it feels like this fight just is so slowly not winnable. But, Skellish just has heals coming back. What is the slugfest I'm watching?
Yeah, this is nuts. Now Pikachu is back on the cart. Here comes Dennis to take down the Mercy. Nice boop as... Well, the Primal Rage don't pick up one, and the back and forth continues in this just all-out slugfest on the back of point B. Oh my goodness, Celestial finally took it home. Bad English made him work for it.
Bad English committed so many ults for that fight that Celestial's comp functions a lot better without any ultimates. They're much better in this neutral fight. Bad English committed so many things there that Celestial maybe committed a couple more ultimates, but without that grab, without that beat, without that high noon, Shatter coming in here gonna be able to pick up Panzerwagon, but it still feels like in the macro sense, Celestial are just in a much better situation.
Well, Bad English pushing forward to chase out the exit kill, see if they can build up back to that big ult bank. Well, with the Lucio getting that boop off, that's closer to that sound barrier. Bad English still just wasting a lot of time. Not a whole lot of time left, speaking of Gunther. Only $1.24 on the clock.
But Celestial's seeming to swap up their, almost swapping 5 out of their 6 heroes. Only Wyvern sticking because they have that check mark on that Echo. Going over to a Brawl comp, which, if they're able to really run over Bad English here, which we've seen them do with these, moral-oriented Brawl comps, then we could be seeing a pretty nice time bank coming out for Celestial.
But now it means Celestial is going to be more grouped up, more value from the tank ultimates, from the dragons once it does come through, but the Doom Kid is there first. Dennis that was Celestial's main tank caught on the other side of the wall. Now Dennis is there lighting up the feed as the Ant Matrix in from the defense, and they're able to hold. Bob on this Baptiste has been absolutely stellar.
Just pumping out tons of heals against these poke comps. Just keeping that entire team up, getting tons of those, big garage doors coming out, and coming into this last fight. Bad English have 5 of those 6 check marks. Celestial swapping over their entire comp, having a worse neutral fight, and now have to even speed for it.
And it's gonna be a little ride battle as the Graviton Surge comes out. Oh, the dragon's over the top of it. Had the wall there to splatter the dragons on, force it into that form, find half the team. And now that was do it. Final fight, no chance Celestial touched this card. Bad English just had the ultimate advantage, and they execute beautifully. Celestial do pick up 2, but they don't make it very far into the castle.
Still getting to second, getting over that bridge. That's so very good for Celestial. Bad English committed a lot of ults in a lot of losing scenarios, and the times when it went well for them were beautiful, but I feel like that's something which can be exploited, maybe baited into overcommitting those ults. That would be a really good way if I was Celestial, that I would try to look to win this set. But Bad English doing a really good job in terms of individual plays, stopping Celestial when they try to go for some of those things. But I'm curious as to why Celestial isn't taking the brawl matchups that they were doing very well in earlier. It feels like if they wanted to mirror that in the same way they've been, looking to mirror it, could be going very, very well for them. But playing some of these double bubble comps, these, hard commit dive tank comps is very difficult against the way that Bad English has been teching against it with these more poke-oriented brawl comps.
Well, and Celestial going back to that poke comp as they head to the first point defense. And we were talking about it. They were betting heavily on point B, and they did win point B. We'll see if that gamble pays off for them, as now they're going to have to hold said point if they want to take the lead in this series.
The issue that Bad English can look to exploit here on the side of Celestial is the Zarya and the Ana. The Zarya and the Ana here are very immobile heroes, so if Bad English are able to properly rotate in such a way where they can, catch those heroes off guard, and Bad English are on a bit more of a slow brawl comp, but if they're able to catch those heroes off guard, then we see Panzerwagen go down early with no energy, and Bad English are able to run over and win the rest of that fight as Celestials have less sustain.
The Panzerwagen definitely has the more difficult task on the Zarya in these compositions. Pikachu is able to just kind of tether to Dennis and keep a nice radius around the Reinhardt, follow your shield around, throw the bubbles down when necessary. Panzerwagen, the positioning is so delicate, the timing on those bubbles is so delicate, and as you can see, Remastered is going to fall as Pikachu is able to burn down Wyvern on the other side, but Remastered's back into this fight. The damage from above has not been dealt with, and Celestial will look to have the advantage as they find a couple kills. Nice directs from Chungus at the end of the fight.
Bob went down really early in that fight. Good play coming up from Celestial to try and pick him off, but it feels like it's just the same thing that I said as we were coming back from break. It's not an issue of individual play. It's an issue of compositions, right? Bad English here could easily be running something like a Moira and a Reaper and be able to just bully their way onto point, but because of the fact that they're playing a lot of these more delicate heroes, Celestial are able to just pick them apart as they walk up so consistently. And sure, Bad English picked up 2 ticks. That was really well done of them, but Celestial were able to come back and win that fight as Remaster gets caught out and picked off by Squilicious.
And that's going to be very far forward. No res this time for Remastered unless the Mercy wants to work all the way around. The Graviton Surge in from Celestial, and they're able to land the stickies into that pack. It's a deadly combination, but Squilicious answers right back. Bob did something, throwing down a beautiful HD window with double damage from that high damage output. Hanzo and Skelly does finally go down, but the Bad English is going to get this cart rolling.
Bad English need to aggressively take control of these high grounds here as we see them start to walk up a little bit, but without actually committing to stop Celestial from holding high ground, then there's just going to be so much damage raining down on Bad English as they try to walk across these points. Chungus is going to pump out damage, Wyvern is going to pump out damage, Lightning is going to go for anti-nades, and Bad English might not be able to last through this, but that's a hard commit coming out from Remastered.
Oh, right up close to the door. The Nano Boost used, now Remastered throwing down the Primal, and it's got him caught in this small room. Beautiful place for a Primal. Dennis gets battered down. Looking to pick up more kills, can't quite find it, but it's created so much space on the other side. Like, Grimmy ends up back on the other side of the cart by themselves, find themselves on the business end of a focusing beam, and Bad English are looking a little staggered, but they seem to thrive in this chaos a little bit. 2 kills coming through, the DPS picking up 1 apiece. Pikachu kind of robbed of the final blow onto Wyvern there. And Bad English now have a bunch of check marks and some momentum.
But it's so interesting to me how both teams are playing the poke-oriented comps and both teams are just trying to brawl with them. We saw how Remastered hard committed with that Nano Boost and Bad English were able to kite it for a little bit before that Primal. We see how Bad English is, playing incredibly aggressive with these poke areas, and it's just these teams either need to they need to play their comp strengths. Celestial doing a really good job of poking here.
Yeah, and yet another animation coming out, but Barrage over the top is going to find one. Dragon's in the back. It just kind of shows you how split up Celestial are. That this Bad English threw the Dragons behind them, and they are eventually able to take care of Lightning and Remastered, who were lurking back there. But on the front side, it's the Air Force, rain and death from above, but it's too little too late. Second point picked up, doors battered down.
Celestial need to try and hold this against all odds. This is Thermopylae Pass here, and Bad English have 4 minutes to throw 500,000 Persian warriors into this choke point. Celestial don't really have a lot to work with in terms of it.
Yeah, and they're going to throw that Graviton Surge in right out of the gate. Grimmy does have the sound barrier, but it's not enough to keep Remastered alive. And now there's no shield to block the big shatter into the back line. Moira's gone. Panzer's gone. Big charge. Takes a thick Chungus down, and Bad English take the lead. Winning on Eichenwald, they now move up to 2-1 in the series.
As we move into 2CP, something that is very interesting in the similarities between King of the Hill and 2CP is how you see a lot more of unorthodox strategies win the day, right? Because realistically, you just need to win one fight and then maybe you win the point, maybe you're in a phenomenal scenario. And we see some of these, more interesting comps and more interesting plays come out on 2CP and KOF respectively. So Celestial doing a very good job on King of the Hill might indicate that they'll do a very good job on this 2CP point coming up. Or Bad English could just keep doing what they're doing and playing a poke comp like a brawl comp and still winning those brawl scenarios, which is as surprising as it is impressive, as I believe I mentioned on Rialto.
Yeah, and to further your previous analogy, Celestial were not very Spartan on that last point. I guess just like the Spartans, they did eventually fall. But it's interesting to see this combination, because even with the double bubble, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Gunther, but double bubble, it was when we saw it in meta before, at least. Things have shifted a little bit, but it was like a combination of poke brawl then, but more brawl focused. Was it not?
So the purpose of a double bubble comp with a Zarya and a Winston is essentially counter dive. You're trying to keep your Ana alive so that you can keep your team together cohesively, and so the DPS that you have doing poke damage are able to do that poke damage for longer, as your Ana keeps your main tank up, and then your main tank takes all the damage, and your DPS are able to do that for free. But when you play something like Double Bubble against what is essentially a brawl comp or a poke comp, and not something that's going to be pressuring your Ana at all, you would maybe find more value in something like a Zen and a Diva as opposed to an Ana and a Zarya. That nano boost gets kited out, as we saw Bad English doing a very good job of speed boosting away from that. That Zarya isn't able to brawl for as long as they want to be brawling. They don't have the support of a Brig. They don't have as many of the nano boosts as they would be getting. And overall, it just felt like the Double Bubble comp wasn't really the right, square peg round hole, right? It wasn't really the right, solution for this situation.
And we saw the front line of Bad English just able to push forward, and despite that they were kind of running a little bit of a disjointed comp of their own, with the front line looking to brawl, back line looking to poke, but they're able to create that space. They're able to win that front line war time and time again, and so it does give L and Scalicious in that instance a chance to get the damage down, to get the damage done. L absolutely pop it off on that last one, and the DPS duel continues. Like these DPS have been very impressive all day long, and I imagine will continue to impress as we head into map number 4. This one is Celestial's pick once again, and for Assault, well, looks like we're headed to Hanamura. We're going to beautiful Japan. What are your thoughts going into this map, Gunther?
On Japan or the map Hanamura?
Hanamura. Hanamura is in Japan, okay? Come on now. All right. You're fishing here, all right? No, I was fishing here. I think this is more appropriate. All right. Sorry.
Yeah. Back to
visual puns aside.
Bad English might have a difficult time. Well, they're going to be on the defense here, actually. So, are we? No. Okay.
No.
Oh my god.
On the defense.
Oh my god, I'm losing my mind, dude. Bad English are going to probably have a very difficult time pushing through a lot of these choke points because of the fact that they don't have, those more they have a lot of fragile heroes in their comp, the way that they've been playing Hanzo, the way they've been playing Baptiste instead of a Moira, and we'll see what they're rolling out on. But if they keep playing what they've been playing, Bad English's poke is going to do they're going to have a very easy time kind of just picking them apart as they walk through, forcing out a lamp here, forcing out a speed boost there, getting one person dead here, then it's a 5v6, and then as you try to make these long rotations to get to point, Bad English is going to get punished for it. But if they're rolling out on this on a brawl comp, okay, I will say, I don't want to be rude. Seems very questionable to me, because they don't really have a speed boost to push with this Ryan Zarya, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, just relying on the teleporter exclusively to close the gap, as they're going to opt to teleport to the left. I love seeing the Symmetra strats here. I know it kind of falls under the realm of cheese, but it seems like there's so many options on point A, so it always fascinates me to see how teams choose to approach. And this approach from the left side, it looks beneficial. You close the gap. You don't have long sightlines to work with. You're avoiding the LOS of Chungus in the skies. You're able to find 2 picks right out of the gate. One of those gets res and returned the other way. So it's a 5v5 on this objective with both teams now missing a support and a DPS. 4v4, but Remastered goes down, and that's going to be the difference maker. As it's just Chungus left to contest. Lightning now alone Ana on point versus alone Reinhardt and gets the sleep! Oh, what am I watching? What am I watching, Gunther?
Well, I think regardless of the sleep from Lightning,
yeah,
English finally able to take that out. But wow, that I respect the attempt. That was almost beautiful. Bad English not really building anybody else to snowball into this next point with, and still running this Ana BAP backline. We saw how much damage they took on the walk-up earlier. Celestial just need to pump out a little bit more damage, and then Bad English is going to be just ripped apart by all of the damage coming out from Celestial. But they weren't able to pump out the damage that they needed to pump out, and now Bad English are able to get into point for free.
Yeah, but Thick Chungus is just going to have a shooting gallery, the big Bionade over the top, not going to have any heals, and now they got to face a barrage, and Mortality Field goes down, and so does the majority of the team. And I was thinking that, like, I could see their plan. I could see it the way they were approaching. They're just going to teleport to this top area. They're going to teleport right to the point. You have no cover. This Pharah is just going to rain death.
Celestial, they need to not just be doing damage as Bad English get into doorways, but they need to be doing damage as they're walking out of spawn, like we see here. They just need to be consistently pumping out damage. Bad English don't have the resources to get in for free. They realistically don't have all of the tools in their toolbox to just be 100% safe when they're in the fight. So Celestial just need to put themselves in a good enough position where they don't really have to do a lot of work to actually win that fight. We're getting into almost a 6 ults versus 6 ults scenario, so I'm expected to have an epileptic seizure by the end of this fight.
Mortality Field burned down, Bionade over the top, barrage into the mix with the nano boost to boot, and Chungus comes up big with the alley-oop from Panzer Wagon. Chungus slams that one home with authority.
That was a very good play coming out from Celestial in terms of the actual execution, but Bad English committed nothing to that fight. They still have all 6 check marks. If Bad English are able to get onto point for free like we saw in that first fight, then Celestial are going to have such a difficult time retaking. Yeah, but Grimkin goes down early. See, this is what we need Celestial to keep doing. That's what they need to keep doing.
Yeah, I mean, that fight just ended before it started. Bad English are going to try to hang around out front and await the return of their Ana. But all the while, they're continuing to take more damage, and Celestial's able to build back up some of those ultimates. 52% already for Chungus.
Coming into this barrage again for next fight, Bad English essentially back now. Grimkin's in for free, but Remaster going in with that Primal Rage.
Getting aggressive and try to batter him down, trying to push him out of the Immortality Field. Does take a charge, and it's going to force Bubble out. Not a lot of resources to help defend here as the teleporter comes through. Bad English able to move up top. They're going to throw the Nano Boost down onto Dennis, and the Graviton Surge onto the point. The wall is up to help protect from the incoming damage from Chungus, and Remastered is going to fall. Chungus gets back behind enemy lines, throws down the Justice from above, and is able to find 2 with that, as Chungus continues to be the thorn in the side of Bad English, and they invested 5 of those 6 ults Bad English did and have nothing to show for it.
They got no additional percentage, nothing from that. We see Bad English swapping to a Genji and a McCree and a Lucio, so maybe looking to actually go through a lot of these choke points much more quickly. Celestial not really having a lot to commit to this fight, but if Bad English don't properly clear high grounds, they don't properly take Lightning out of where Lightning's playing, they don't properly push Wyvern away from where Wyvern's playing, then Bad English, even if they get to point more quickly, they're still going to be in a really difficult scenario.
I feel like Bad English have to deal with Chungus as well. Again, there's just not enough cover on this point. You can't just kite around and kill the front line. Chungus is just doing too much. Point in case. 2 kills on the board, including Bob the Bat.
Oh, but another tick.
Your primary source of healing gone. But they almost killed both ticks. 98.2%. Great job from Chungus to put the damage down, but the tanks have got to get on their contest. They finally do, but they have to invest the nano boost just to make sure.
Oh my goodness, if you are Celestial, you cannot let that happen. They were winning that fight the whole time, but Bad English just had enough damage on point where anybody on Celestial who tried to touch was in a really dangerous position to do so. A bit of an overcommit from Remaster to try and push out the backline of Bad English, and there was no contest that came out. Bad English really, that victory is just so much closer for them now.
Yeah, I mean, they basically got that for free. Like, that was a pretty big misplay from Celestial. Now they're going to throw the barrage in. Mortality Field's going to prevent too much deaths. But once that's gone, 2 kills do come through. Celestial is going to leave up there and find a pair of their own. And now Bad English find themselves with about 65 seconds on the clock.
I feel like I keep saying this, and I feel like this is something that needs to be said, but we see, you know, Pikachu on Bad English, we see maybe a swap to a Diva. I think these off tanks need to be playing some of the Diva that they were playing earlier. Look at how much damage Celestial's pumping out. Pharaoh Rockets, Dynamites, there's Grabs, Celestial's pumping out. There's Grabs, there's the anti-nades, and if you're just able to stop half of those things from coming in, it's so easy to win these next fights.
Graviton, they do finally deal with Chungus in the skies, pull out the blade, and able to chop down one, find a second follow-up there for L. And now, once again, needing only some precious few percentage, Bad English have finally won themselves a fight here on point B and are threatening to cap with time in the bank. They do indeed. 19 seconds left on the clock. They are guaranteed an attack if we go into extra innings.
If you're Celestial, you're happy you got him under a minute, but with all the free space you gave up across a couple of points, with all the free point percentage you gave up across a couple of those fights, you have to, you know, beat yourself up for that one a little bit. That was just I don't want to say an unacceptable, but a very, you know, poor misplay to make that they were punished for. You know, Bad English were able to get the full cap there. Good job on them for being able to recognize the issues with their comp. They pushed through to point. They were able to take that space very aggressively. And coming into the defense now, I feel like that's what Bad English's comp is much more suited for, the way they've been playing this poke with this Rein Zarya, as we're going to be seeing again here. Sticking on that Ana, which I think is very interesting, which is a nice caster word for maybe bad.
That's what they're trying to be nice.
That's me trying to be nice, but you know, this is not to be like a big flex or anything, but like coming from contenders play and pro experience, there's a lot of like, you look at a comp and then you see one thing that's wrong and your brain immediately goes, oh well, this is awful, this is egregious, this is atrocious, because you see one thing that's wrong and your brain is just like, no, this simply cannot be. But they've been seeming to make it work in some of these scenarios, so more power to them.
Celestial coming out with the big beefy front line of the Reinhardt and the Orisa. And they're going to employ some real cheese. This is
Presidente.
Oh, this is super cheesy pizza right now. Yep, it's going to be Protect President Chungus as they teleport up to the top left-hand side.
That's such a cursed sentence. But being able to take this high ground pretty aggressively and trading here with Bob.
Oh, Liberty to just throw off my cast entirely. 3 kills for Panzer on this first point before eventually going down. Without their Reinhardt, Celestial is still managing to push on and find the kills, find the cleanup. They've done enough damage. They'll be able to get point A.
That was just a lot of trade kills coming out on the side of, or a couple of trade kills coming out on the side of Celestial, picking off key targets. Bob went down early, and so they weren't able to keep up the front line of the rest of Bad English. And coming into this next fight, Celestial didn't really get a lot of ults charged here. They didn't really get a lot that they can use. Maybe that Baptiste square, but overall, they don't have a lot of snowball potential.
I was thinking the same thing. I looked up, I was like, I expected to see higher numbers on that top left side after a first fight win like that, but, you know, they're able to get this Bastion up onto the high ground. Could make life difficult for Bad English. They're not able to find those poke angles that they're looking for, and they got to work through 2 shields to even make them effective. Somehow, L makes that happen. They're able to get Wyvern, and every kill oh so important on this Hanwha point B defense. Bad English have lost 1, but L manages to continue their streak, picks up another, and it should be just enough for them to hold as Pikachu finds Lightning on the back of the fight.
Celestial went in to take that high ground before Lightning was actually back from spawn. So, well, then now we see XCJ picking up a lot. Good play from her there. But Celestial went in aggressively before Lightning was back from spawn, and so they took a lot of free damage on that high ground. Salty was trying to deal with L on the flank, and overall it just seemed like Celestials, they didn't dot their I or cross their T's and dot their I's before they got into that fight, then signed all the paperwork properly, and so they got their application got rejected. Bad English said, nope, come back when you got all your stuff together.
Well, and that's how you handle, you know, the composition of Protect President Chungus here. Bad English just pick apart all the bodyguards. And when it was all said and done, there was nobody left to protect him. Now up on top with double damage. It's 960 DPS coming out of that Bastion and 2 kills under their belt, finding both DPS. Now they're going to move on to the point, pick up 1 tick already, and they're just going to leave Chungus on the high ground, threatening anybody who dares get close to the 2 tanks that are there. I think Chungus taking a quick nap and eats a flurry of storm arrows, and now the protection is gone. Shatter comes through from Panzer Wagon as they try to push on. The counter Shatter is there, but it's not going to be enough. The follow-up to the original Shatter from the attacking Celestial nets them a whole host of kills, and now they've got 80% on the board, and they're going to close out the rest of it with a monstrous time bank. Bad English on match point, but Celestial threatened us to send into that precious map 5.
Bad English just got thrown into that into a paper shredder there. Celestial did a really good job of TP of faking that right side, or pushing through that right side, taking control of that high ground, and then Bad English were ready to fight in those stairs that we see. They were ready to really take a brawl on that close high ground, but Celestial hit him with that fake out. They go across, and this is just, Bad English, they don't have a lot to work with here, right? They have a minute to attack, but realistically, this is one of those things where you're barely even thinking about that 1 minute attack. You're closer to thinking about that 4.5 minute hold you have to do, and anything you get on this 1 minute attack is just something you are thankful for. You praise the sky gods.
Bad English looking to close it out, looking to defy the numbers, defy the odds as they stare down the barrel of that 4-minute 30-second time bank. And I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, but you just got to focus fight to fight here if you're Bad English. I mean, just take this third fight and hope to get as much as you can. If you can get a 3rd point on the board, that's all the closer to closing out this deficit.
Exactly. And we see Bad English, we see Bob swapping over to that Moira, which I think is incredibly strong against the poke comps that Celestial has been playing because of how Moira's just much less fragile. Moira doesn't have to, be peeled for by Lucio as much. You can just kind of do your own thing with the team. But we see XCJ going down early, and Celestial are going to try to punish this.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the whole fight playing out the window. No more teleporter, and now Chungus is going to have free reign from the skies. But the world is starting to make a little bit more sense again with Lucio Moira back behind this Reinhardt Zarya. But you got to keep XJ alive. You got to at least make your approach onto the objective. One last chance for English.
This is what we saw with that 2nd point defense from Celestial. These fights are getting over before they even begin.
Ooh, Chungus goes down. Nice kill from L. They're going to get res. That had to be a dangerous. Yeah, Salty dies to get that res off, but Chungus might have Barrage ready to go as kills start coming through from the other way. Lightning and Remaster are going to come up with 1 apiece. Chungus moving on to the point is able to clean up Grim. He's going to follow up with that kill onto Pikachu and not allow any percentage. Full hold for Celestial. Don't even need the Barrage.
Really good play coming out from Celestial, doing a lot of poke damage before Bad English were even in a situation to actually push onto point. This is one of those things that we see often with, even in comp games, just with, teams that are sometimes in difficult scenarios where you forget that your spawn room is only 1 room. There's a whole map where you can get shot. And so when maybe thinking that you're safe until you get to those doors, those big Hanamura doors, is sometimes a pitfall you fall into because, you get poked on that walk up. We saw XCJ go down. We saw, some of Bad English scatter a little bit. Celestial were just able to keep them picked apart, keep them spread for a while. So by the time that Bad English actually properly regrouped to take a fight, there wasn't much that they could actually do in terms of ult economy. And Celestial, coming back in the same comp that they took that 1st point attack with, it's a comp so nice they're trying it twice. Or a 3rd time, considering how they played it on Control Center, or on Mecha Base. Indeed.
Looking to protect the President once again. Protect that Bastion, teleport them on. The Symmetra defense here is I don't know about questionable, but I feel like there could be better choices. Particularly, you've already seen them run this Bastion comp. They're not going to all push onto the point at once. We'll see if XJ can find some value with this defensive Symmetra.
I think the thought process is that if you're not running a Lucio with a Rein Zarya, you can get some other kind of mobility, so you run a Symmetra to try and TP and maybe match a brawl. That's at least my 2 cents. Or to get back from spawn more quickly, considering if you get 1 person picked here, it's usually really awful on 2CP.
Teleporting directly above the point. Celestial just looking for a place to bunker down. They're going to rotate to the back left-hand side, utilize the window, and try to start raining damage from above. Chungus is bionated and taken down. Good opening pick and a push up. Bad English will take down both tanks and clean off that right-hand side. Well, that's first step down. You won first fight. Plenty more opportunities for Celestial to tie up the series, though.
Lightning committed lamp much too early in that fight, just, peeking out and dropping that lamp. And as we see, Celestial swapping up their comp to more of a dive comp, but that was just poor coordination coming out between the back line and the front line of Celestial. Battle English were able to punish that, wait out that lamp, and then kill Chungus as the lamp ran out. So that was really good play coming out from them. But as we see Celestial swap up their comp to, I guess more of a maybe a Nanoblade kind of poke or dive comp, then Bad English are in a much more difficult scenario considering they don't really have a defensive ult.
Oh, and they got Chungus in the sky. I mean, there's one thing with the Ana Bap, both of which can help put some pressure down onto the far in lieu of, a long-range hit scan. But Celestial have enough time. They can just bank on this Nanoblade ultimate. Right now, they're just being impatient, as we've seen from them all day long. Finally going to go ahead and commit and dive on in. Chungus working around to the back is going to trade with L, but the front line's able to move in and find a few kills. Nice boop off the side. And Celestial, well, they have to deal with the nano-boosted Reinhardt, but they're close to closing this thing out. Now it's Dennis under a lot of pressure, just backed up into a corner, and will eventually fall. And Celestial are going to throw down the mines, just in celebration, as they take Hanamura 3-2. We're headed to that precious map 5. The deficit has been erased, the slate wiped clean, and now it all comes down to our final control map.
That's like what we saw on that Busan downtown, where Bad English just kind of got grouped up on point, and Celestial were able to take 5 different angles on them with different DPS heroes, go for anti-nades, and just pump out damage in a situation where Bad English couldn't realistically push out. Going on to this last King of the Hill map, this last control map, I'm very happy to see that we're going to a map 5, see that both of these teams get to at least say, we're giving this a little bit of closure. We're going to give this a good run. And coming into this, it feels like I hazard to say that Celestial are going to try to go for the brawl again, but I'd really like to see them go for the brawl again.
They were very disciplined on the brawl, and we'll see where we end up going for this 5th map. I figured, Lijiang Tower might be a great pick, and you can put Chungus back in the skies. Chungus was just a menace on that Pharah. So it could be a good map for them to pick up the Pharah once again as we look at their stats from Hanamura. Look at that. Oh my goodness, what a performance. 16,450 damage per 10, 36 elims and only 5 deaths. A big reason they were able to tie up the series. I'm curious where they're going to go. Are they going to enable Chungus to stay on the Pharah? We're going to have to wait and find out. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back with map 5 in just a few. Don't go in. It's 2-2. We're tied up once again after the break. Celestial are able to put up a wicked attack despite kind of faltering a bit on their defense and giving up a little bit for free. They strike back strong. They put up a 4-minute plus time bank, and now it all comes down to our final map. Bad English get the map pick, but Celestial won our opening round of control.
In this last map, Bad English have chosen to put us to Nepal, which is actually very similar to Busan in the way the map is constructed. We have that much more outdoor exposed point. We have that much more indoor point where you can kind of surround the control area. So Bad English maybe going to be in a very dangerous scenario here, considering how on Busan they got picked apart in a fair few places on those scenarios where they couldn't just mirror brawl versus brawl. And on a much more open map, Nepal doesn't have, a mecha base or a control center. It's all indoors. It's all those close range, very, very, or it's all those like long range, very, poke rotation oriented fights. So it might be very difficult for Bad English to actually play the distances they want to play and play, to the strengths of the comp that they've been playing this whole time. Celestial feels a lot more flexible in this regard, and that could be to their advantage.
I feel like Bad English are kind of putting all their hopes on getting Sanctum early. Like that's gonna be the one where that they look good in the long range hit scan department. And speaking of, we are going to get a sub coming in as Skelly is returning to the fight and L going back to the bench. So that tells me we probably are going to see more of like the Hanzo Widowmaker setup. But once we head to Village and Shrine, I fear that Chungus's Pharah is going to pose problems once again.
Especially if Bad English choose to group up on the points in the way that they have been very consistently so far. If they play Village the same way that they chose to play Busan Downtown, then it's going to be incredibly dangerous for them.
Yeah, we're looking for them to not back themselves into a corner and just get pummeled with damage from all sides. That's the positioning needs to be a little bit better. And indeed, we're starting on Shrine, one of those maps where it could be equally as dangerous as Village.
Bad English, I'm obviously interested to see what they roll out on, but it's really a question of, do we see Celestial staying with the poke that they've been playing, or do we see them going back to those brawl comps? It looks like they're going to be going on that poke, maybe a more mobile version of it, which could be very good considering A, the high grounds, and B, how the way that Bad English have been able to win most of the fights that they've won against the brawl comps, or against the poke comps, is either Remaster gets caught out for some reason. It could be any number of reasons. Things happen, or they amp onto Lightning or Panzer on Zarya, who are these very stationary heroes that a brawl comp is able to properly punish. And when you play something like this Wrecking Ball, it's going to be, really the only target is Lightning. And if Lightning chooses to play high ground properly, then Bad English are going to have a really difficult time actually dealing with Celestial. But it seems like Bad English take control of that high ground, and Celestial just goes to point.
Yeah, but Chungus already causing problems. Then the one person who's on their shoulders to take down Lightning, to take down the Pharah of Chungus, is now out of the fight. Skelicious is gone. Remaster does get caught out, as you mentioned, but the damage has already been done. Celestial with a +2 in this fight. No more DPS left standing. Dennis is antied and backed into a corner. And Celestial will pick up first control.
As Bad English try to make that rotation to cut off Remaster, maybe push into Lightning. Good stuff coming out from Chungus, just pumping out damage. We already see a barrage in that first fight when everyone else on their team is barely hitting 60%.
That's a 35-second barrage.
That's incredibly quick. And Bad English sticking to their guns here, still playing on this very fragile comp.
Oh, right over the top. They never saw it coming, Gunther. Big 3K, make that 4 for Thick Chungus on the far.
Thick Chungus is just the bull in the china shop right now. Bad Enough is playing a fragile team comp, and Chungus just knocks it all to the floor. You see pots and pans crashing everywhere, trying to form up another barrage for this fight. And Bad English, once again, sticking to their guns, but missing out on a lot of the ult charge and maybe the defensive tools that they could be using if they played something like a D.Va to be defensive in the scenario.
A very dangerous rotation along coast. Chungus is able to find Skelly once again. English do have an Matrix. They're not even getting to use it. Dennis goes down early. Remaster just bouncing all over the place. It doesn't even get punished this time. Is able to get that bubble up in time, and Celestial win that fight even more handily.
Bad English are not on a comp where you can just rotate to point in the way that they're trying to rotate. They need to sequentially take control of a location, poke out someone, and then walk to the next location. Right now, it feels like they're just trying to amp through places and push onto point so they can take the fight on point. But then when you get to point, what happens? You're surrounded by damage from 7 different angles, and Bad English keep getting picked apart in the way that they have been.
Yeah, this discipline from Celestial as the stick comes through. The barrage is there as well. And that's a quick 3 kills. Bob, poor Bob, got stuck and barraged. Man, it feels bad to be a Baptiste against these two DPS. As now, look at this, all the way up to the shuttle. Remaster just chases down Dennis. Boom, it does get punished late.
Pikachu swapping over to that Wrecking Ball, trying to get an overtime touch, but the rest of Bad English still very close to their ults. But this is a winnable overtime fight, especially without a barrage. Maybe a Nano Boost comes out onto the Pharah for damage, but a lot of ults coming out from Bad English.
And that late kill onto Remaster might just come back to haunt Celestial, as Bad English have been able to win out these scrappy, chaotic engagements. Again, Sound Barrier invested, alive, and Skelly finally able to get some shots off in this map. Is going to find 2 kills, find those 2 very important kills in Lightning and Chungus.
Oh my goodness gracious!
A nice shot, but they get off point!
That is a textbook Charlie Niner.
Oh my god! I was just watching the DPS. I was like, yeah, Dennis is up there holding down the fort. Dennis he's got to have that point, right?
I was finally gonna say, Skalicious, you know, took a game or two out. They had to warm back up. They finally warmed back up, picked up 2 to 3 kills. But in that time, Bad English lost sight of the bigger picture and weren't able to properly hold control of point. Now they're backed into a corner here, forced onto they're playing Sanctum here, and they're gonna pick, you know, a more traditional brawl-oriented comp, maybe, or maybe not. Now that they're on Ashe instead of May, but overall, that was a free retake for them, considering where they were at, and they just threw it away.
All of Skelly's hard work totally undone. And now we're in mirror comps. We're back on the brawl for Celestial, which they've done very well on what few we've seen. The only difference in these two comps being the May versus that long-range hit scan of Skelly on the Ashe.
Bad English going into that underground area, which might be very dangerous for the comp, but a lot of resources forced out already.
And Remastered goes down early. Trying to close the gap. Celestial looked on 2 different pages. I think Remaster kind of just pushed in on their own a little bit and just got focused down. And they haven't got point yet, though. Chungus is still there. Land and Icicles. And now using the Cryo Freeze to continue to stall. Does get boot back, and Bad English will pick up first control. But here comes Remastered onto the point. It's a bit of a broken fight both ways. Dennis is caught behind a wall. The Immortality Field beautifully placed, somehow right above it. But as soon as the wall comes down, the Shadow comes through. 2 kills light at the feed, and Celestial flip the point.
Bad English on a comp that extends, or that does very well in these like longer range scenarios, and we see them swapping over to the May, so we're on a real mirror matchup now. But Celestial going a little too aggressive, Bad English putting out too much burst damage, and so Celestial able to win those longer term fights. Now trying to choke up on these points and go aggressive with the ult advantage that they started to build.
Decent wall to start things off, but Chungus is able to back out. Dennis is going to throw down the Shatter and finds one, and Bob does fall. But here comes the strike back. Bad English is able to get 3 with that. Blizzard thrown in, and Penzorag taking full advantage. Able to move it into the Mega Room. 5-2. And Celestial are going to maintain control on the back of that. The counter Blizzard, beautiful from Thick Chungus.
Good on Celestial to not overextend there. And Bad English getting close to a fair few more of their ultimates here. But in, you know, these May scenarios, when you have control of point, the hero is so good for cutting off those individual people and then collapsing on a team. That's how the hero is designed in these places. So it's might be difficult for Bad English to retake, but they just get on a point for free.
They do, and they flip it for free. Celestial are trying to just sit back and utilize the Amp Matrix, and once again, our team's losing sight of the big picture. Salty is able to pick up one, and now Celestial, realizing their mistake, are going to move in, get aggressive with the Graviton Surge. Wyvern sitting up on the side flank, using that off angle to try to force some damage in, but Bad English are able to move in the small room. In that small room, they get hammered down. 2 kills for Bad English, though, Remastered. I thought for sure was going to get another, but no, the support's coming through as Bob finds a pair on the Baptiste.
Bad English committing a lot of ults of that fight. A really well-timed beat coming out for Grim in order to save her tank line. And because of that, Pikachu has high energy to poke before this fight starts, and Celestial have an even more difficult time retaking considering how many ults they used in that engagement.
Rotating around their left-hand side. Salty over the top. I think it was looking for a boop and gets chased right back out. Does have that sound barrier. Oh, but lightning goes down early. McCree from distance, and then Grimmy is able to get a boop off the side. Another Shatter invested in another fight win for Bad English.
That's another fight decided before it even properly began. Lightning went off really early there, and Bad English now in a scenario to hold this for the rest of the time. Looks like they're setting up for a close fight.
Let's see if Salty sticks with the team. We want to speed that team in a little bit. They're going to rotate around. Where are you going? You're going left-hand side. You're going to push through the small room. You're going to run into a May in there. You got to be careful, but they're going to use a sound barrier. They're able to use that speed to get out as Salty moving on to the point to try to ensure the overtime does trigger that. Ooh, he gets a boop off the side to boot. Dennis falls as well, and despite the Blizzard out from Bad English, it's Celestial finding the picks, and now throw it on the Blizzard of their own. That freezes up 2, if not 3. And Celestial, with 99% on the other side, are able to win this all-important fight, but they've got to be perfect from here on out if they want to take it home.
That was a necessary commitment from Chungus with that Blizzard, but it's also something you didn't want to have to commit in the first place. Celestial have a lot of other ults in order to win this next fight, which is probably last fight territory here, considering just the time scenario. But if they use the square like they use the square just to burn some time out, and they don't really have the ults to actually finish up on a graph, finish up on a shatter, then they're going to be in such a difficult scenario for when this fight's actually on point.
Shatter comes out, but that one gets blocked by some well-placed bubbles. Trying to back out, it's claustrophobic here on Sanctum, and the Graviton Surge thrown in. But just as you said, like, there's not enough damage to finish it off. Now the Graviton Surge from the other side, and they have an AM Matrix. They have a bunch of damage poured in, and Bad English are moving on to this point. They're going to plant their flag and claim Sanctum for their own. This winner's bracket match is going to go down to our final round. We are headed to Village to decide who moves on and who goes down to the loser bracket.
In that fight, Celestial was all alley and no oop. There was nothing to actually, finish off all the setup that they started. But moving into this Village point, this is where Celestial's comps seem to be doing very, very well if they choose to stick with the poke that they've been playing. Maybe sticking on this brawl here that they played last time. But Bad English have a bit of a tendency just to stick on point and hold in those kind of scenarios. So maybe Celestial abuse this, maybe they don't, but Bad English could have a very difficult time here if Celestial are able to properly punish the way that Bad English has been positioning.
Well, and we were theorizing it would give them an opportunity to kind of surround and put in damage from all angles, but I feel like sticking with this brawl comp, it shows me that they're wanting to stay together. Like they're going to play best when moving as one force, and they're going to move that force across the high ground, while Bad English are going to just move right onto the objective. Anticipated move, one we've seen time and time again, as Celestial are going to rotate around to the backside, avoid the May roll, and start putting damage in, but Remastered just gets too far away from a lightning on the Moira, and gets taken down. Wyvern falls directly thereafter, and Bad English, well, they fend off the onslaught for now, and they start us off with percentage.
Bad English not able to 100% set up that Symmetra Pillow Fort on point, putting those turrets around and making Celestial go through all that damage. But Celestial, Remastered just gets caught out there, run over really early by Bad English. And in these scenarios where you're Celestial, you need to be the aggressor here. Bad English have way better poke. The longer the fight goes on, the more damage that Symmetra is doing. But they seem to just be taking things kind of slow for the most part.
Nice.
Good wall bait.
Avoiding the wall, yeah. Remastered, able to just back right back up. But Thick Chungus was on the other side of it. Big charge right into the back. He's able to find one. Trying to pressure down Dennis, but the bubble's there, keeping the Reinhardt alive for Bad English. Shatter is out, and it just finds Pikachu. The shield blocking the rest, but the Graviton Surge holds everybody in place. Dennis is able to find a pair. We're down to 3v3 on the fight, and Dennis has an Earth Shatter to close it out with, and that's going to be Bad English maintaining control.
Such a clutch shatter coming out from Dennis. If they weren't able to get that shatter off, then that's an easy take for Celestial. And now coming to this fight with all the ults that Celestial committed, Bad English have so much that they're able to defend with. They have they have a grab, which is so good on these small points. They're halfway to a Blizzard again, which might come up by the time that last fight happens, and they have both defensive ults, so that if Celestial do get an advantage, Bad English are going to be able to grip it and pull it all the way back. This is so dangerous for Celestial.
It absolutely is. That was the fight they had to win. Now it's a massive uphill battle. Once again, the good bait, but the Coalescence is invested. You wish you had that Coalescence a little bit later, but the off-angle Graviton Surge is huge. Will the damage be there? Remastered goes down early. Once again in the fight, 2 kills for Pikachu. What a beautiful play. The off-angle grab, Celestial just never saw it coming.
That was a phenomenal grab coming out from Pikachu. Celestial, maybe they have a touch here, but realistically, it's one of those things where it worked for them on other maps, so they tried to, play this brawl here, which ended up very dangerous for them. And we see Bad English 3-2 in the final, most possible moments of the match that we can finally see. Phenomenal win coming out from them, but well earned.
Well earned indeed. Dennis with some amazing shatters. The one right at the very end denied the touch from Celestial. As we take a look at our play of the game. Chungus did a lot of work on the farm, but opted not to bring it out when we headed to Village. And Celestial, despite that fantastic performance, are not able to close out the series. Bad English win on the brawl. Hats off to them. They survived. There was the big ultimate fight when the two tank ults came in from Celestial. Bad English weathered the storm. They whittle it back down to that 3v3, and then Dennis with that super clutch shatter. Also, Timbo had to Pikachu for that flank grab. That was awesome. That was just awesome.
But well, regardless of what we think, I'm incredibly curious what you, the viewer at home, think. Considering we're going to be moving into MVP voting, where I believe you type exclamation point, or sorry, I'm completely wrong in that regard. But yeah, here you are. You can vote for whoever you thought was the best player on the winning team of Bad English. Let your voice be heard instead of just ours, as we talk a lot and you guys just talk and chat. So here's your chance to talk about what you think was good and how great you thought the players were in this match.
Yeah, just hit the corresponding number next to their name. If I had to say, Dennis looked really good throughout the entire series, leading the charge. The Reinhardt play, oh so important. Kind of struggled to get the shatters in early, but in the mid fight had some great positioning. Was able to punish in the Rein v Rein duel. What are your thoughts? Gunther? Who would you pick?
My personal MVP was L, for the sole purpose that he jumped off of Eichenwald's second point at high noon and killed 4 people that fight, which was the most Giga Chad play I've seen in a long time. And I think he did fine throughout the series, but personally, he may not win MVP in this voting, but he's won MVP in my heart.
The cloudy Deadeye off the top ropes of Eichenwald. Hey, let's not forget the pullback. They were down 3v6 on point A, and L also came through and clutched that fight as well on the McCree. So, that's L definitely earned a place in our hearts today. I cannot argue with you in the slightest, Gunther. Can't argue with you in the slightest.
That was now phenomenal DPS play from both sides.
It really was.
Team play overall.
It really was. It was the fast-moving, aggressive team of Bad English winning out the day over the more slowly paced, adaptable, disciplined Celestial. But Celestial aren't done. They've got losers bracket. They've got a safety net. They've got a chance to bounce back and correct the mistakes. I mean, and this one was absolutely down to the wire. It doesn't get any closer. I mean, there were a lot of 99-99s on our controls. There were it was final round of the final map. And at the end of the day, it looks like Dennis, your main tank player, your Reinhardt player for Bad English, your chat voted MVP. I can't fault you there. I play a lot of main tank myself, so props to the tank players. We take a look at some of our stats from throughout the match. These stats are awesome. The awesome people at Elo Hell coming up with this great stuff. We're able to present you with your MVP stats on the screen right now. Then that final map in Nepal. You can see 30 elims for a Reinhardt. A man after my own Reinhardt.
Yeah, really good job, especially coordinating the front line of Bad English. Very often we saw how there was good coordination between the speed boosts of Bad English's Lucio, and how Dennis was able to coordinate with the team with the Reinhardt, and how they were able to kite really, really well. They were able to use those to full advantage, and it was just very good team play, but built by the linchpin of this individual skill.
Well, and for a lot of it, didn't have a Lucio. And that just makes your life so much more difficult. Your positioning has to be that much more perfect. So a lot of that sans Lucio, and Dennis still able to shine. Beautiful performance here today in that victory win. So we're done with our first match today, my friends, but we are not done for the day. We're going to return with our advanced division. We're headed to the Masters division with Southleaf taking on Team Speed Boost as we head down to the losers bracket here in GitGud Limited EU. Big shout out to ExpressVPN for helping us, allowing us to put on this tournament, enabling us to put on this fantastic tournament, just built for players of all ranks, able to get in, be competitive, have a good time. So big shout out to them. But y'all stick around. We're going to return with Advanced Division after a short little break. We're going to get our team set up, and we'll see you back here for more